Good evening. I am Angie Everhart 5.0. And welcome to On Air with Angie Everhart. And we're here with the beautiful, extraordinary Latoya Barrett. And I want to, you're a financier, a pastor, a mother. Mother.
We can ready to go Medea in here in a moment. Mother.
And, I've known you all but 3 minutes, and we've been sitting here giggling, and I feel like I've known you for forever.
Yeah.
And you're just that type of person that is warm, and I feel like you hug a lot of people.
I do. That is my life. Every week I am definitely hugging people. I think a hug, a touch is healing. Is definitely, that's me.
Yeah, me too. If people give me a hug, I tell them, you can't give me a one-handed hug. I need a two-handed hug and a good one. You know, I greeted you.
And it was like we knew each other forever.
With a big hug.
Yeah.
But you also, smile begets a smile.
Yeah.
And I'm reading, I'm on this quest to better my life and to better my son's life and I've been fortunate enough to feel better health-wise. And since I've even started this podcast and working here in Wilmington, I've met some incredible people. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. This is wonderful. It's to me, it's a privilege just to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
You're just a warm being, and this is nice. I can't wait to see how this is going to be. This talk, our girls talk.
Well, I want to come and see you at church.
Oh, girl, that you're going to enjoy it. It is very lively, very spirited. It is an enthusiastic service, and you have a lot of music. Of course, because I love to sing. My son is a musician. We're all our family. Everything is surrounded about music. So
love that.
I was doing my Christmas tree, and it was music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a very musical family. My dad was always singing, and just recently, my mom got some hearing aids, so she can't stand noise anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's almost like, my dad can't sing or whistle. He's very, very, very musical. Even sometimes, like when I would wake up, he would do the bugle horn to wake me up as a whistle. I mean, he used to whistle like a bird. So that's how I would get woken up. I'd be like, okay, stop with the bugle horn.
He sounds like my dad.
So I would love to come to your church and hear the music and sing and
come. You would have a ball.
I will. I'm going to take you up on my request.
You're invited. I invite you to come.
Thank you.
You're going to enjoy it. It's going to be amazing. It's like I said, it's very spirited, but it's very healing. One thing that I've always loved about worship and being in a place of collective believers coming together is that we get an opportunity to have that collective healing.
Yes.
And so in worship, I can lift my hands, I could cry, whatever I need. You can get that in worship. And that's something it's been profound.
So I went to another church here in Wilmington, and I had a profound experience. And I sat down, and I was in the back, and I was laughing and crying at the same time. Like the tears were rolling down my face, but I was laughing. And so it was a release of some sort. And the woman next to me, complete stranger, reached over and said, "It's okay."
Wow.
It's okay. Everything's okay. And I didn't even feel bad, but it was just, I don't know what happened. I just started seeing my grandmother. There was a woman who was in the side who was standing up. She reminded me so much of my grandmother. And it was just a moment. Wow. It was one of the strongest moments I've had as an adult woman.
Really?
Yes. Unbelievable moment.
So this is I was looking at your book while we were kind of talking and the book that you're kind of venturing into, and I hope I can join you in that book, because I've been journaling lately and I'm having a reinventing myself moment, and it sounds like we're kind of in the same space when we were talking. Right. I'm reinventing myself and finding a new wellness, new self, and then spiritual enlightenment in that place.
Yes.
That you're starting to question everything that you had always known in life and allowing new to come in. And it's very unsettling at times to do that, but then it's also that certain peace. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like a serenity or a peace, a soundness that is coming, that you know that there's a voice that's beyond all the voices you've heard all your life.
Right.
And that voice is letting you know, keep walking. I'm taking you somewhere that your life, everything will make sense and everything will matter.
Well, the voice, you know, that little tiny voice. I was trying to explain this to my son the other day, that I said, you know, when you know you're on the playground and you go to throw the ball up against somebody's head, but you know it's wrong, and there's that little voice that goes, you know, don't do that. And I said to him, I said, you got to put out your little pinky and you got to promise me that you'll never go against that little voice. That when that voice talks to you about right and wrong, that you follow the direction of the voice, because it's never wrong.
It's never wrong. It's never wrong.
Across humanity, it's never wrong.
It's never wrong.
And that's God, I think.
I believe that. I believe that God is our direction, our pathway, our light. The Bible says a lamp into our feet and a light into our path. Right. The older I'm getting, the more I'm becoming aware of it.
And maybe that's it too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it too. The experience of questioning where we come from. The accepting of everyone is beautiful to me. Yeah. Is, you know, my son opened that vortex, and I never used to cry ever.
Really?
No, I've cried enough in 10 years for a lifetime. He opened up a sensitivity about me that I just didn't have. You know, motherhood made it so life wasn't just about Angie. Right. You know, motherhood opened up life, as you know, as you can see that how it changes a lot of people.
That's crazy, because we kind of had a different experience. I had my children at 21. So my first son I had at 19. I was just talking to my daughter today. Her at 22 and my youngest at 25.
So they look like, you guys all look like brother and sister.
You gotta see. It is crazy. My daughter looks just like me.
Yeah, you look like brother and sister.
And so like I grew up always being a caretaker. And so whenever now life is no longer about everyone else. Now, you know, like I was talking about, I want to have a baby. It's probably because
you've always taken care of somebody else.
I've always taken care of someone else.
Right.
And I now hear God is telling me, like, no, this is for you. This is for your healing process. This is for you now being able to have another purpose in life. And now I am hearing him so clearly. And I'm making room for him in my life. I'm not having to go at things with a plan. You know, you know how we always have a plan. We always have control over it.
Oh, yeah. I finally gave it up. I was like, okay.
Girl.
You win.
Girl. Like, yeah.
All right. Help me out here. Yeah. And where is all of this pain and suffering that I've had led up to a moment of give back.
Yeah.
And help others is truly been. And if you said that to me when I was 22, I would have laughed you out of the room.
I think both of our conversation would have been different if we would have been talking about that time, because you were going, I can't stand this girl because she's so religious and not spiritual. And
I wasn't either.
So it would have been an interesting conversation.
There would have been no conversation.
Truth.
No.
You're right.
There would have been no conversation.
There would be no connection. And I think it's because of the similarity of our pain has now brought us to a place of revelation.
Yes.
Of what life is all about, and that revelation brings that human connection, where then now I can let something in that normally I would have never opened up to. I would have never done this before. And I don't know if that's the same for you.
Absolutely.
But in this moment, there's a synergy that we're both being able to connect on a deeper level.
It's a higher energy.
Isn't it?
It is. And that's what I was talking about. I've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. It's a definite higher energy than what I've had in the past, and the give back and helping people, and because I'm seeing so many women who are suffering, like really suffering health wise, and whether it be what I was suffering from, or any other mental health issue, or any kind of suffering that I'm seeing with women, I'm standing up to try and help, be a cheerleader, to point in the right direction and maybe help, because I'm meeting so many different strong women who can help, whether it be from lack of faith and bringing it in towards faith, because now I'm a believer.
Yeah.
And now I have my own sense of spirituality and what I think is God, and because everybody has their own perception of God. And, I think I met him in that church that day, and I heard him before I even went to church that day say, you need to go to church today. And it was a voice that was distinct and clear in my body. I did not want to go. Yeah. I didn't grow up in the church. My parents never took me to church. I went maybe once a year, maybe. If, and Anne only went when my grandmother was alive. Since my grandmother passed away, says my kid I haven't gone. So there was no reason, but my friend Jamie said, look, you want to come to church? And he texted me in the morning, and the voice went, you need to go to church. And I was like, okay, I'm going to church. I'm getting up and going to church. And I swear it was like that. You need to go to church.
Wow.
It was really weird. So I did. And I literally sat in the back and cried. Cried. It was like a Sally Field moment. I compare it to that. And in the terms of endearment, I think the movie was.
Yeah. But I think we all have that moment where God meets us. And like, I've grew up in church. So let me just say, I grew up in church, but I think in the last year, I've met him differently. And I remember one day cause I go to therapy constantly. I just think that you need to have, if you're going to get a checkup on your body, get a checkup on your mind,
body, and spirit.
Mind, body, and spirit. I just feel like you have to be sound in every aspect of life.
Yes.
And so I was with my therapist, and he said, while you're going to church, have you made room really for the Holy Spirit? Have you really made room for God? And I was like,
as a pastor, that's quite a question.
And I'm going, well, who do you think you are? And he says, but you're trying to be perfect. And God wants you to be you. And in that moment, I had to let all that is creation and the Creator come in.
Well, we just had this conversation a couple of minutes ago, and you said you wanted to change this, and you wanted to change that.
I did.
You wanted to change this, and I told you were perfect.
And then, but if you ever grow up in church, you do everything just like the law. Like, if they say you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you try to be as perfect as possible to keep up an image. But the image,
I get that too. I understand that.
But the image is corroding as we age, girl. So then you find
it's not.
Okay, I love how you say that.
No, it's not.
Okay, go to the level that because you're getting ready to get me, because I know from our conversation we just had. Tell me, come on.
Look, I just turned 50. Okay. So I am, and I have had procedures. I'm not lying about what I've done. I do things to make myself feel good. I'm trying to do everything I can to take things out of my body, though. So that I'm, I really just took a whole bunch of like a dirty rag out of my chest, basically.
Yeah.
And that was toxic. So I feel like this point of my life is a beginning. It's a new start. And sure, I don't look like I did when I was 20, but I feel beautiful today.
Right.
Like I didn't 3 weeks ago. Like I feel like I've come back to me. Like the Angie Everhart 5.0. Like I'm back in my skin.
Okay.
And back in my power and back in my mind. And
well, see, and I guess when I say corona, let me say age. So we're starting to age. I am better than I was at my 20s completely. I think, but the thing that I look at is I was trying to be perfect to the opinion and the judgment of others, which is not the best of me. If they allow me to be the best of me, they would get, oh my God, an exceptional, wonderful gift.
well, that's you. That's not them.
You're right. Now, but give me your perspective on that.
I did. I said how gorgeous you are, and
You did?
The second that I met you, I hugged you, and you're warm, gorgeous, outspoken,
Wow.
like you emanate friendliness and kindness.
Let me ask you this then, Angie.
I just met you, and I was like, I walked in, I saw your smile, I hugged you, a two-handed hug. Now, I don't do that to everybody I meet.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because there is something that you've been in public opinion for years. Mm-hmm. For years.
Oh, and I don't listen.
Okay. So then, especially coming from the religious sector, living in public opinion, for years, you have, for me, it has been, you do this way. If you ever deviate, then, oh my God, you're no longer in. Now,
Well, maybe you need to just take a chance on what you feel is right, because the world is changing.
Most definitely.
Okay. The world is changing and needs new light, and women need to come together rather than fight. And I think that now, because we were programmed to battle each other in our minds, literally, we were programmed to battle for the man, for our life, who had our livelihood. Except now we can do so many things that we couldn't in the past. So we don't need to battle each other anymore. We can support ourselves, and we have to retrain our minds so that we can evolve as a race of women, not white or black, but a race of women that is coming together to empower each other.
I love this conversation. Let me tell you why I love this conversation, because I just looked at the back of your book of Neville Thompson, and our Neville Thompson. And when I looked at the back of the book, there is something that I've been journaling and studying, basically getting insight and information concerning words.
Yes.
So when I looked at, I said, let me see that book, because words, we really dismiss the minor words that we watch, see, and live, and allow to come out of our mouth, just like how
Guilty.
and I love how we're having this conversation and you were able to say, girl, no, and call me on something to say, did you see this? Did you hear this? Do you understand that that's a picture, words that you have allowed to invade your mind, that a picture you have created, that you're now walking in a life of words that don't really belong to you?
Not anymore.
I love, high five.
Not anymore.
I love that. So I was really doing a study this week on words, and okay, I'm a person, I'm going to reference the Bible a lot.
Okay.
So Hebrews 11:3 says that and we have a perspective that our worlds are framed by words.
They are.
And that's what that scripture says. And so I was kind of really looking at it saying, well, what words have I allowed to frame my world different from the life I really want to live or the life I really love? What words have I allowed to create energy and flow in my life that is a negative flow and that is a positive flow? And then how do I stop the negative flow and really now reinforce a positive flow? So thank you, because this has been this reinforced some of my study that I've been doing just this week personally.
So do you remember the movie Animal House?
Yeah, vaguely.
There was a moment when John Belushi pops up and he's an angel and he's a devil. And it's kind of a horrible, it's
Come
a
on with it.
horrible
Come on
explanation. But I think of this all the time of like, there's an angel popping up that is positive mental attitude. And then there's the devil that's negative mental attitude. So we can either go through life with the negative mental attitude, or we can go through life with a positive mental attitude. Now, I know that I am filling my life right now with people who have PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
And it really does, if you say, so my mom sent me a text the other day that says, instead of saying sorry, say thank you. Thank you for everything you're doing. Sorry sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
But, so if you look how many times you write sorry in a text message, I'm sorry I did that. Say thank you and be positive. That text message from my mother has hit me so many times in the last 2 weeks. Instead of writing, I'm sorry, write thank you and write things positive rather than negative.
Wow. That's good. It makes me think about the book I was reading with Sheryl Sandberg, Lean In. And she was saying that how many of us as women we apologize more than men.
Right.
I'm sorry. And really, I love how your mother says, say thank you. Because then that now allows you to make the correction you need instead of feeling as if you got to kind of, you know?
You don't need to apologize.
No.
It's who you are.
Yeah.
So say thank you. Thank you for doing what you were doing. And here I am.
So tell me this, how is it now we as women, how is it we can now, like you were just saying, we've given to our men, we've given to our children, and now get in that mental health environment that now we prosper, that we flourish.
Okay. Let's talk about that. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about smiles and speaking, because Oralgen is my sponsor for the show, and I love this brand so much. So we're going to hear from my sponsor. We'll be right back, and I will tell you what I think.
When it comes to keeping my smile white, I only trust Oralgen New Pearl Advanced Teeth Whitening System for sensitive teeth. With no harsh chemicals or peroxide, New Pearl offers a unique 99% natural formula that delivers professional results previously only available from your dentist.
Save 50% now on the New Pearl 32X Teeth Whitening Kit. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Visit oralgen.com/livewithangie to order now.
So I just want to welcome back to one of the most fascinating conversations I've had yet, because this is, it really is part of my goal is, I was part of the Me Too movement, which I was not proud of. Okay. None of that made me proud, because it's something that happened to me it's very dark and Harvey Weinstein yuck. But I didn't do any of the press tour that a lot of the women were doing, and I said my piece, I said it, and I was done with it.
Yeah.
Now, the conversations that I'm having with breast implant illness and silicone implants and women having a higher vibration and kindness towards men is very important and dear to my heart, because I grew up with 4 brothers, and I love men. And I love women too, but I love men. And I don't want to live in a world where men feel so scared that it's going to go into segregation with women here and men here.
I agree.
And with the brain, because we're demasculating men to a point where they're running away.
I agree.
And we're creating metrosexuals, just men, softer generation of males. And so when I see a manly man, maybe that's probably what I get attracted to.
Okay.
May not be the nicest person in the world, or whatever it is, whatever. But I like to see a man, and I like to see a masculine man. And I really do. And I still want somebody to pull my hair.
You sound like my daughter. We were just having this conversation today. So she was like, Mommy, I do like a tough guy though.
Yes.
Like he,
Yes.
And I said, girl, get your life right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, every one of us, I mean, a lot of us still want that.
Well, it takes a kind woman though too, that I think I want. My dream is for women to come first full circle in terms of raising men up so that they can be great, and so that we can be great, and we live on an equal plane.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I like it. But now how do we do that when we have a lot of us that are still dealing with a lot of our own monsters?
Train your brain.
Exactly. We have to train our brain in the words that we really allow to occupy our mind and our lives.
Yes.
And then that not every man that is solid and sure of himself is a monster.
No.
And
how do you talk to your man? It's the same thing.
True.
What you give to your man in words is how he will be in words in life.
I agree with that.
You create the person by how you talk to him and how you speak of him, how
definitely.
how you speak of him to other people.
Most definitely.
So you can even recreate your marriage. You can recreate your husband. Mm-hmm. Think back to the days of when you guys met and how amazing that person was and what you fell in love with.
I've been with my husband since I was 15.
So let's think back about that.
You've got to meet him. So
I can't wait.
My husband, he's very much spoiled, and he is a man. He's a solid guy. And so I definitely agree with you in that you give men space to be able to occupy there.
Yes.
Being able to have an opinion, to be able
Yes.
to have a voice, but also for us to disagree.
Mm-hmm. You have to learn how to disagree.
You have to learn how to
Yes.
disagree, and knowing that that's a space of stretching you and him
Yes.
in that moment, and even increasing your intimacy, that both of you feel safe in that space. And so, and that is something that we had to do. We've been together now 26 years.
I think you probably have learned how to hear each other.
Almost definitely.
And, that has been my biggest thing that I've learned, is how to actually listen and project and say what needs to fulfill me,
Mm-hmm.
and what I need to do to listen to someone else to let them be fulfilled. I think my next relationship is going to be, for me, an amazing one, because I'll be such a much better person and ready for that. I had to go through a big grieving process with getting divorced, but I'm good. It's good that I went through this.
Yeah.
I did not get involved in another relationship because I'm raising a little boy, and I wanted the time to be with him, but I also wanted the time to grieve this relationship, because I left him when I loved him. Didn't leave him because I wasn't in love anymore.
I love how you said it. So you said you left him when you loved him.
I did.
How did you do that? Because we as women, a lot of women don't know how to do that.
We weren't fulfilling each other in the right way.
Okay.
And we'd tried and tried and tried. And I just didn't give him, his button was my activator. Okay. So no matter what we did, it was like two magnets, and as much as I loved him, because God, I tell you, it's the one person that I have loved beside my son the most. And to this day, I can still say, I love my ex-husband, and I do. And I wish we weren't such opposite magnets.
You remind me of that movie, you probably will know really well, with Will Smith and Theron, Charlize Theron, and where they were superheroes.
Yes, and they can't be around each other.
And they couldn't be around each other, or one would die.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Kind of one would just kind of diminish. I was just watching it the other day.
That's funny. I never thought of it that way, but
you remind me of. But they were both great.
Right. Well, I'll look at it like that's a great way to look at it, because for a long time it was very painful. Instead of it just being the way it is, that was very, very painful for me. And, I've allowed myself to experience the pain, because that's life. I mean, if you haven't, it just shows me how much I loved him.
Yeah.
How much,
yeah. I was reading something.
Baseball.
Yeah. I was reading something 2 weeks ago because I had to teach a session on it's called Good Grief Now What, and I was talking about grief. And I was reading something and it says grief is love's last dance. And if you love hard, you grieve hard.
Yes.
And you're probably a hard lover, a deep lover. And so, and you grieve as deep as you love. And a lot of times we are not, I was telling my daughter because we have lost some relationships in our life. And it was kind of like, we're still grieving it.
Yes.
We're still like, okay.
There's a process of grief.
It is.
Yes.
And you have to, you can't just replace it. Because you can't feel
I don't want to.
No, you have to, you got to go through the, you got to go through the depression. You got to go through the anger. You got to go through all of those steps, and they go in different orders and they go in different ways.
Well, he was lucky. He replaced it right away.
But most men do.
I know.
But most men do.
He replaced it right away.
Most men do, though. But I think it's beautiful that you are self-aware, and I'm loving like our moment that you're so self-aware that I've even gotten stuff from you just sitting here in our moment talking that I'm going, okay, hold on. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with our now.
No. I mean, so through this whole process of grieving and going through what I've gone through, because it was, out of every bad situation comes something good.
Right.
And some of the best songs are written when people are heartbroken.
Yeah.
And I have really transformed my life into something completely different than what it was. And I just had lost myself completely in another person and allowed it to happen. And, and I'm okay with it because that's what I needed to learn in this life. I needed to learn about, I had never done that before. I've always been pretty strong, but that knocked me on my knees, and it's led me here.
Yeah.
And it's led me to God. It's led me, I didn't even know if I believed in God until recently. I didn't know what I believed because I never went to church. And now I know I believe in God. I have no doubt in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that I call them God shots. I'm getting them all the time. I'm getting God shots from people, and I'm listening to what people are saying first, because they tell you what they want and who they are immediately. If you listen, that's who they are. And either you're going to have them in your life or you don't or whatever. But, I told my son the other day, I said, listen to girls because they will tell you right away if they like you or not.
That's true. That's true. Wow. So I think I wanted to ask you this.
Ask away.
I'm 42. And so when you hit that 40, was there a really big overhaul change in life? Like what you thought at first?
Then I think that's when it started.
That's when it started. Okay. Yes. So it started at 4. Because I'm telling you, it's like I'm unpacking a lot of things, and I feel like a light is coming out now. And a new purpose for life is coming out.
I wish I felt like I do today mine changed at 39, actually.
Okay.
Excuse me, when I had Caden. When I had my son, my life changed completely. But I mean, I didn't even want to have kids before that because I was so selfish and self-centered, and my life was all about me. And now it's all about Caden. Like, what can I do for my son? What can I do for our community? What can I do to make his life in our community better? And what can I do for the world?
Yeah.
To change little girls' attitudes so that he can grow up and find a woman who loves him and will help him be the man. Because I have so many ideas, and that we can talk about later about helping young girls and young girl programs, because young girls, if somebody had told me some of the things that I'm hearing and that I feel now, I wish somebody had said that to me when I was younger. So I would have known, because I just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's funny because I have at our church and in the community, I run a program called Be Beautiful. Be Beautiful from the Inside Out.
Yes.
And
Madame,
I know.
Do you look in the mirror when you teach that?
I knew you were going to go here.
I mean, come on.
I was ready for it.
You know?
I was ready for it. I was ready for you to say that. But it really, but I had to go through a process though.
Right.
Because
you just needed somebody to say, hey, look, you can teach something, but, and you probably, and it's been an evolution for you, right?
It has.
Okay. So maybe you need to take your own class.
And I am. That's why I was telling you, like, I'm going back to looking at the words and taking a step back and now feeling me.
Well, do it 4.0, 4.5, 4.3.
Yes.
Like it's your class, but now it's evolved a little bit, right?
It has.
So do that. Do the evolution of Latoya. You know what I mean? Like do the evolution of from where you were to now.
Yeah. I love it. I'm here for the evolution. Yes. So I am loving that. I am here for the evolution. So yes.
If you want anything from me, please feel free. I will extend a hand. I'll be there. And I come here a lot. So
it'll be, listen, I told you it's going to last me a week, our conversation. So it'll probably hit me with a conversation really quick. But
I'll give you my phone number. You can call me anytime.
But I think it's just that I give. I'm a giver. I give. We were just talking about this, weren't we? Mm-hmm. So I give, but I don't allow, and I'm learning to allow at the same extent that I give, that it be given back to me.
Right.
We're normally, women are, as nurturers, are not able to allow. We have to train ourselves
and allow that, because that's a flow of energy as well.
Right.
If you block that flow of energy, because I was just talking to my girlfriend Heather, and she was telling us how energy, when you allow somebody to give you a gift, and I said, well, we got to make that a segment on the show, that allow people to gift you, allow to accept a compliment, allow the good stuff, because that's the good stuff.
It is.
And a lot of times we're like, oh no, but go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Embrace it. Embrace this. Well, I'm embracing this. This is a gift. I was talking to someone just yesterday, and they were saying that there are miracles throughout every day. But it's up to us to see the miracles. And I think that this is, like we were just saying, that we would have never had this conversation if we were in our 20s and where we were in our 20s or our 30s. But now we
wouldn't even probably said hi to each other on the street. I would have been walking in my high heels and listening to you two on the radio, and
I'm going to be somewhere else, focused on something else.
Yeah.
And in my own head.
Right.
And so for this collision to happen is a miracle in itself. It's a miracle in the moment. And I think that even when we leave, we'll leave with so much, just from this moment.
And that's the kind of thing so this is what I'm talking about, is this conversation here between women.
Yes.
That needs to continue to happen with my friends, your friends, together. Yeah. That we branch off, and my friend said, told her, and she told two friends, and she told two friends, and she told two friends. So it is a conversation of us changing the way that we think, because women need to support each other now, so that we can support the men too, and make this an even playing ground, rather than, oh, he did this or whatever. There needs to be equal rights. Women need to be heard. Men need to be heard. They not to be attacked. Women don't want to be attacked. It goes both ways.
Right.
Guys.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You want a woman who isn't going to attack you? Don't attack women.
Right. But then if a woman wants a man that's not going to attack her, she can't attack
Don't
them.
attack him.
It
goes both ways.
It goes both ways. So we have to create an environment of health and social health, even in our homes and in intimacy. And a lot of times intimacy is so uncomfortable because there's so many boundaries and walls that we have to let down, even in platonic relationships and even in our intimate relationships. There's so many walls that have to, there's so much vulnerability that has to happen in order to let that.
So Coach K does this thing where he doesn't talk straight at, like, if he's going to have a girl that he's going to talk to. I don't know why I know this, but I was looking at an interview that he had said one time, and he said, I always sit down next to a female if I'm going to have a conversation. And it makes it so it's not confrontational. And so I've carried that through with my son, that we'll go for a walk on the beach or we'll sit in a car. And some of the best conversations between us are when we're side by side rather than facing each other at each other. Like I'm talking down to him or talking at him as a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And it's, and so maybe, again, we adopt that philosophy of talking together on the same, playing field.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. Some of my best conversations with my children, my son is 23, has been in the car.
In the car.
Like riding. And then all of a sudden that they feel as if it's not contentious. It's not, they can just be free flowing and just talk about whatever is going on. My daughter Essence, you got to meet my babies. Yeah. Essence. Today we were in the car before I got to you and we were just talking about college and where she was and what was going on with her as a young woman and how she's evolving. And it was not contentious, and I can feel she didn't freeze up because I was looking at her. I could see that she was comfortable.
Yeah, talking.
She was just the chatterbox that she normally is.
Love it.
And it was not like I got to be, perfect for mommy.
Right.
No, this is my mom, my girl,
Right.
and hey, this is what I'm dealing with and how do I get through this? And we had a good time talking and I'm laughing at her. And she says, do you understand me? I'm going, I do. Now, do you understand? Are you getting what I'm saying? I do. I get it. So yeah, you're right.
So how do people reach you? What's your socials? Where's your church? What's the name of your church?
The name of the church is Purpose Church, International here in Purpose Church, right?
Purpose.
And purpose is not static. We know it's always evolving. And so now we know it's Purpose Church. And then
I will make it a point that the next time I come in, I'll come to the church.
I love it.
I'll make a point of making
And
my
then I'm
flights.
going to cook for you.
I love that even more. Because I'm a foodie.
Yeah, I'm going to cook for you. Yeah. So I'm going to feed you well. But Purpose Church and then Facebook, Latoya Barrett. And then I also do mortgages. And I've been doing it for 21 years. And that's Freedom Mortgage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We didn't even get into that.
We didn't even get into that. But we,
You'll be back.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll be back. I promise.
Okay. It's us. And so it works for me. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, I agree.
This has been wonderful.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Nice
you
to
too.
see you.
Yeah. It's nice to be seen and it's nice to see you too. Yeah.
Okay, the Love Fest.
Yeah, this is powerful.
Thank you. This has been a great show and one of my favorites, actually. We're out from Wilmington. Love ya.